You were on the sideline when this happened. Walk us through it. Was it immediately obvious that this was not your run-of-the-mill football injury?
For me, it was when players from both teams kind of formed this human wall, this shield around what was going on, around what the medical personnel were doing with Damar Hamlin. That was when it became apparent to me that this was something different, because what was going on, players knew that we should not be seeing. They were trying to respect the privacy of their fallen teammate, and that was when I knew that this was something different. And quite frankly, that's when I started to be scared.
Yo, what's your boy Earthwind? I know y'all been watching the news. Damar Hamlin collapsed on the football field. You know, as a former football player, a running back, like, you know, you understand like the humanity in a violent sport, right? Like, make you kind of appreciate things. You know, I'm not saying I'm a gladiator, whatever, but like as football players, like you really dead ass put your life on the line every single play. Like, no matter how minor it is, it might appear to be, like you really are putting your life at risk, right? So appreciation is always a big thing. I always like to harp on for the people who are blessed to get to play in the NFL field or in front of a sold-out stadium, to the people who work at Family Dollar. As long as you're breathing, that's half the battle, right? Your number one asset in life is your health, right? So we're going to play a couple clips. We got a doctor breakdown, and I'm going to come back to you.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Dr. Brian Suter, and on this channel, I try to teach you about the sports medicine world and give you some insight into what we see on the field. What we saw happen tonight is not related to any sort of vaccines. This is almost certainly something called commotio cordis, an extremely rare condition that's one of those things that we typically only think we're going to read about in textbooks. Essentially, what can happen is if you have a blunt trauma to the chest that occurs at exactly the right time in the cardiac electrical cycle, your heart can be sent into cardiac arrest. As Hamlin comes in here, we can see this square hit to the front of his chest. We see him get back up momentarily before ultimately collapsing back down to the ground and requiring CPR on the field. This is a tracing of our heart's electrical activity. Basically, this is one cycle of the heart squeezing. It starts off with this P wave, which is the electrical activity of the atrium at the top of the heart squeezing, then the QRS complex, which is going to be the ventricles acting. But then the last phase is this T wave, where the ventricle basically depolarizes and kind of resets to get ready for the next cycle. For commotio cordis to happen, you have to suffer this blunt trauma to the chest at exactly the right moment, specifically on this upstroke of the T wave, in order for the heart to then be sent into this arrhythmia and subsequent cardiac arrest. This is one of those things that not only do you have to have a high enough force, but it has to happen within milliseconds of a time window, because if that impact comes at any other time in this electrical cycle, you're fine. You don't go into this. But when it happens at just this right time during this upstroke of the T wave, and if it's high enough, then you can have this thing called commotio cordis. We typically think of it happening in baseball players whenever they get hit in the middle of the chest with a hard thrown ball. But unfortunately, that looks like what is most likely to have happened here with Hamlin. Treatment of
So yeah, the doctor that you just heard speaking, his name is Brian Sutter on YouTube. Go check him out. He be quick with it. An injury happened, he gonna have a video within an hour. Something crazy happened in sports, football, soccer, whatever. He's going to give you a reasonable assumption of what just happened, right? So I'm not going to lie. The word commotio cordis, didn't know it existed. But when he painted the picture of baseball players, pitchers in particular, getting hit in the chest with baseballs and they heart stopping, ding, 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 like I get it there, right? Like I've seen it. I have not seen a pitcher get hit in the chest. I have seen a pitcher get hit in the face, broke the hose, eye socket, like it was bad, right? So, and that's just life, right? It's just like how crazy and how minute. What do you say? Milliseconds, right? You gotta hit it the right. It's 1,000 milliseconds in a second, right? Cut a second 1,000 times, and you got two of them. You got to hit it right to be able to cause what you saw, right? So that's crazy. The boy was on the ground for like 30 minutes. They was literally giving him CPR. His heart literally stopped on the field. They was giving him CPR for like 9 minutes. And Skip Bayless get to tweeting, right? First, he was kind of, I don't know what happened to DeMar. Both teams are shaking the ambulance out in the field. He prayed for him. Like, let's pray for him, right? You got another one. He said he's seen so many horrific injuries suffered on the football fields, yet I've never seen a reaction like this. In every other situation I witnessed or covered, the game always went on fairly quickly. The attitude was, hey, that's football. For these players, this was different. You know why it was different? Because the boy heart stopped on the field. You might see a dude get knocked unconscious, but he gonna be twitching or he gonna be breathing. I know that sounds brutal, but that sounds of life, right? See dudes get knocked unconscious and they get in the fighter pose. That sounds, it's brutal, but at least it sounds of life, right? Like when you see somebody just from a mundane hit, wasn't leading with his helmet, it's just he gets up, he fixes his helmet and falls out like emotionless for 9 minutes. They giving him CPR. Do you know what CPR is? I mean, you're not breathing. That's not you need smelling sauce to wake you up because you knocked out cold. That's not even that you're paralyzed. Let's stabilize the neck. You're not breathing, right? So that means your life is in imminent danger, right? Skip did not his last two tweets, take it how you may. But this last tweet, ruffled a lot of feathers. He said, no doubt the NFL is considering postponing the rest of this game. But how? ? This late in the season, a game of this magnitude is crucial to the regular season outcome, which suddenly seems so irrelevant. He tried to clean it up with that last little, 3 letters, 3 words, but the magnitude of the situation, like we have never really seen dudes have to get CPR performed on them for 12 minutes in the middle of the football field from an ordinary hit where both teams are shaking up and that boy was on the ground for 30 minutes and everybody is crying. Like at the end of the day, it's a game. It's a game. It is a game, right? So I don't know if y'all know, though. I don't know if y'all know. So as of right now, Skip Bayless had a show, First Take, right? Guess who didn't come? Shannon didn't show up. Shannon Sharp did not show up to the show today. Skip Bayless issued an apology. I am going to play it right here. Now, with that being said,
allow me to say up front that I apologize for what we're going to set out to do here today if it offends anyone, because we're going to try to do the show pretty much as we usually do the show. But I'll admit up front, I'm still shook up by what happened last night to Damar Hamlin. In fact, I'm still wrecked. In fact, I'm not sure I'm capable of doing this show today. But after barely sleeping on it, I decided to give it a try. Maybe I'll fail. Maybe we will fail, but we're going to try. We wrestled through much of the night whether to even do a show today because it felt like in our minds, we almost can't win with this because the last thing we want to try to do is come off as insensitive to what this young man is going through in a life or death situation. The last thing we want to do is offend anyone by trying to do what we always do, which is talk about sports. As this show goes on, we're going to try to talk about a little bit of sports, but we're going to continue to talk about what happened to this young man last night and try to sort back through it with help from you and the audience. And we ask you now, if you'd like to tweet us your emotions of the night and of this morning about what happened to Damar Hamlin, please do so. You can tweet us at @undisputed, and I will be sharing some of your tweets and your emotions as we share our experience of last night through this very difficult morning for all of us. Obviously, my partner Shannon Sharpe is not here today. I look forward to seeing him tomorrow.
So now y'all see, you see the way Skip looking he looking pale, he ruffling the paper, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, he know that some sensitivity should have been shown, right? Everybody understands that Skip Bayless is a 70-year-old troll who like retro ones. And I'm cool with retro ones. I love retro ones. But hey, listen, being a troll at your age, being a fanboy for Tom Brady, unrealistically coming off the events of you trying to downplay a 3-time Super Bowl co-host, the same co-host who did not show up to the set today, right? Like, you know, ruffles for feathers, right? Like, first look, Kendrick Perkins, what Kendrick Perkins say? You're a sick individual. Real talk. I don't even know if I want to go call him sick, but I could call him insensitive, unaware, not being able to read the room. And he's shown these tendencies for a very long time, right? So I'm not really going to look to Skip Bayless for compassion. You understand? Unless it's something to do with Tom Brady. T.O., what T.O. say? Capital letters, right? You're despicable. Angry face, right? I hope to God you lose your job for this tweet. You really think the game holds more weight than this young man's life? Dude, you did wrong for this. Like football players definitely are going to feel some type of way because, like, y'all really don't appreciate what they do. Like, I don't give it something simple as a kickoff return, a punt return, right? Like, I didn't play in the NFL, right? Right? Like, so I can imagine the amount of injuries, and by the time you make it to NFL, like, even if you play pop, I still got football injuries from high school, and I ain't played football in 12, 13 years, right? So it's like, and I still got injuries, and it was still times where, like, you know, like, dang, doing this right here, sticking my head in his pal, this brother right here, he's 6 feet 230. You know what I mean? I got to meet him. He's 7 yards back. I'm 7 yards back. We got to meet in the cloud of dust and get up and do it again. Like, people get numb to the risk that football players is taking, right? And as you see, the football NFL community is going to stand behind Damar. They go stand behind him, right? Robert Griffith III. Damar Hamlin life is in the balance. Get your head out of that. You know, like, for real, like, just have some sensitivity. Just wait. Just wait. You know what I mean? Just keep the prayers up. Let's keep the prayers up, right? And let's hope he be back. I hope he back on the football field in 2 weeks. Like, I hope everything is A-okay. I hope everything is great. I hope that even if he never plays football again, I hope that if he has kids, he can still do the simple things, like teach him how to ride a bike. Like, I just hope that his quality of life is good. But I'm going to be positive. He going to bounce all the way back. He going to be good to go. And this young king going to continue to thrive and provide for his community. A lot of people donated to his charities over this, which is dope. I wish they would have did it before this. But nevertheless, hey, here we are, right? My name is Earth Wynn. This is Be Greater Podcast. And Damar Hamlin, I'm wishing you a speedy and a full recovery to your family. I'm blessing y'all with good energy. Man, just keep y'all faith and just believe, man. That's half the battle, man. Until next time, y'all know the vibes, right?